Love is a flame, a devil's day, a violent storm about to be born. Just look in these eyes, see all the lies, all these things you see and cannot deny. Endless flame that burns inside.
Good evening, sinners, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Night Cinema. As always, I'm your host, Sawyer St. Sin, and tonight we'll be talking about the movie that gives horror films the finger. Love that tagline. We're talking about Idle Hands. So, it's not necessarily like a horror movie, right? It's like one of those horror comedies, which I like a little comedy every now and then. It's fun. So, its release date was April 30th, 1999. Director is Rodman Flinder. Writers is Terry Hughes Burton and Ron Milber. Cast is who's who of that late 90s, early 2000s heartthrob comedy scene. Right? So we got some big names. We've got Devin Sawa as Anton Tobias. We have Seth Green as his friend Mick. We have Eldon Henson as Panub. I really hope that that's a nickname. And if it is, what kind of nickname is that? Then we have Mr. Anton's love interest, Jessica Alba as Molly. Vivica A. Fox is Miss Debbie LeCure. Sorry, I really like that last name. And just a little note, the band at the dance is The Offspring. It's a nice little segue into getting us into the soundtrack, which I might add, all but maybe a few of these were, probably a big part of my adolescence, and may or may not be a big part of my adulthood anyways, okay? Maybe I'm stuck at a certain time zone or time frame. Anywho, so we have BTK, Rancid, Motley Crue, Sublime, Two Live Crew, Rob Zombie, The Offspring, Static X, Unwritten Law, and I had to throw this in here if you can see him, Ace Frehley's New York Groove, which, by the way, the beginning of October, I saw him live, and it was fantastic. Fantastic. So now that we've gotten, the soundtrack out of the way, which on the soundtrack, Offspring, they do a cover, and it's in the movie, it's the song that they do in the movie, they do a cover of the Ramones, so that's like two birds with one stone in my middle school wheelhouse of music, right? Alright, let's get into the movie, shall we? So, opening scene, right off the gate, we got a body count, right? His parents are getting ready for bed. She's, nagging him about blowing out the pumpkins. Whatever. And they get settled in and they see on the ceiling, I'm under the bed. Here are some things, go investigate. Bada bing, bada boom. Parents end up dead. So, Anton, being the lousy layabout stoner he is, looks like he gets up about 1 o'clock. And immediately like goes to make food. Mom, no milk. And he sees the dog doesn't have any food either. Just like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna smoke up, because that's all I do, smoke up and watch TV. On the TV there's more murders. There's been a slew of murders in his town, and he just goes right over it to cartoons. I mean, what stoner doesn't, right? But he realizes he's out, goes to his friends, they're out. He's pissed because they've made him come all the way over from across the street. Just want to really get in there about how lazy he is, right? Then he sees his love interest. She drops her poem book. He gets it. He gives it back to her, but is painfully too shy to even say anything to her when she's trying to thank him. And then decides that he needs to go to the grocery store. Which doesn't look like he drives, because he's pushing the shopping cart home with the groceries. It's lame. Anyways. But while he was talking to his friends, they were like, dude, if you would have gone to school, you'd know that there's a Halloween dance. So are you going? You can ask her. And he's, blows him off, right? So, back at home, he tries the oregano nutmeg in exchange for, the pot. It doesn't work out. He, starts hacking and he's dying. But while making a sandwich to get that, nasty taste out of his mouth, he pulls a knife and he's zoned in, right? Just zoned in on boobs on the TV. Which, I mean, can you blame him? Everyone loves the boobies. To see that the knife has blood, all over it. But he finally realizes it, he takes a bite, right? And then he looks down and he sees that there's blood all over it, and he's like, bleh! He's freaking out. And then he sees that the cat's playing with an eyeball, and he's like, oh my god, the killer's in my house. And he's making the dog protect him for some reason. I don't understand. But he goes and he hides in his parents' room, and then he sees I'm under the bed, so he darts out and he runs, and he slips in blood and knocks down the two pumpkin statues. Which, by the way, listen, his parents go all out. It's really cool. It looked like their window scene looks like what's that painting? Oh my gosh, American Gothic, but with pumpkin heads, right? Okay, so now that I got you caught up on that. He knocks over these beautiful pumpkins, but who's in the pumpkins now? That's right, his dead parents. So he makes his friends come over, right? Because that's what you do, right? You're like, oh my god, hey, and so they come, and then they're starting to put some things together. His mom had a piece of cloth in her hand, turns out matches the torn part of Anton's shirt, and then the word ant is written in blood on the floor. So they start putting two together. Seth Green's like, hey, I'm gonna call the cops. And this is when Anton realizes that there's something not right with his hand, right? Because his hand grabs a beer bottle out of the fridge, breaks it, and kills Seth Green. And then the other guy, he, runs away to the basement for some reason. There is nowhere to go in the basement. Nowhere to go in the basement. And he realizes that. And Anton's like, hey, like, let's talk about this, but his hand just like busts through the door, and the hand's trying to kill his penub. I hate that name so much, guys. Anyways, tries to kill him, and Anton's like, just run. But then the hand sees a saw and, whoosh, cuts his head off. His head goes rolling down the stairs. It's actually really, really kind of great scene there. But so, now his friends are dead. So what does he do? He's like, oh, I'm just gonna go upstairs and, try to smoke up some more because, I need to process what's going on here. But the cat, right? The cat keeps like getting in its way and like, just being annoying. By the way, the cat is white and his name is Bones. He's adorable. But his hand, the little possessed little freaking hand, picks up the cat by the tail, swings it around, throws it out the window. And as he's going to find the cat, the hand's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, there's a hot piece of ass over here. And so the hand, throws him over he like does some like parkour move, like over the railing in the front porch, and very aggressively rings the doorbell, like won't let go of it, rings the doorbell. And the whole time, like, Anton's like trying to hide his hand, and she's, just like, she's very forward with him and is like, hey, come in, and drags him up to her room, where they then proceed to like make out, but the hand keeps trying to like choke her. So then Anton just like ties his hand to the bed, and she's just like, ooh, kinky. Right? And then the hand just is like, oh god, fine. And but her parents come back and, well, just get a makeout session, don't really get anything else. So he goes home, where he then buries his friends and his parents. But lo and behold, his friends start talking, and they're like, get me the out, right? And he's like, oh no, you were dead. And they're like, no, we weren't. We're just knocked out. But no, they were fully dead. Like, you don't get decapitated and not die. You know what I'm saying? So basically, I feel like it's like kind of like a nod to, American Werewolf, where we slowly see like, the decay of the friend, while, David is like having this like horrid, experience. It's kind of like that, except for like they're zombies now. And they don't, all they want to do is like eat bean burritos and smoke weed. So they're not like the worst zombies. They're not trying to eat your brain or anything. So I think I can handle that. Like, if I just need to toss them a couple burritos every now and then, that's fine. Come back to life. That's cool. Whatever. Just don't try to eat me. Like I said, they're just there to give Anton hell. And really, they're not even trying to be helpful. Like, at least, try to help me out, guys. But they're like, hey, that dude with the Ford, that big truck that listens to Motley Crue and Judas Priest all the time, he knows about, like, satanic stuff. So, he tries to hunt him down, and he gives him the best advice ever, right? Idle hands are the devil's playground. Listen. No. But, in this case, yes. But in real life, no. So Anton is like, okay, cool. We'll keep it busy. Awesome. Yep, keep it busy. So he decides to knit. His mom knit, so that was, keep it busy. Well, unfortunately, there was a noise complaint, and the police show up. Unlucky for the police, they die. So we just have, man, I'm telling you, the amount of people that died in this, for it to be like a comedy, it's a lot. But, Anton, gets the bright idea to cut off his hand. Just cut it off. That'll work, right? Just cut it off. Well, that didn't work so well. It just, decided to attack him. He threw it in the microwave and it kind of, I don't know, started splurting blood and not really exploded, but it didn't look good. Had blood coming out of its fingertips. It was rough. But his hungry, stupid ass friends, right? Because they want to make burritos, they let the hand go. So the hand's off to the dance, right? And so all the time that this is happening, we've got Mrs. LeCure, right? She's some kind of like druid priestess or something. I don't remember exactly, right? But she's some kind of priestess. And she's been trying to track down this evil for quite some time. And so she finally like pinpoints that that's where it's going to be, right? And she shows up for some reason at the bowling alley where she meets, Mr. Big Truck. And he's like, yeah, hey, you know what? Like, my friend Anton was just, like, talking about how, like, his hand was doing some crazy shit. Like, I'll take you to him. They get there right in time to see Anton and his buddies. Anton and his friends have stolen his big old Ford pickup truck. I mean, this is, like, jacked, right? So it's like a monster truck, really. And so he's pissed, right? I mean, that's his baby, guys. He's not happy. But they're off to the school dance because that's where the hand's going. Because the hand is like, guess what, Anton? You messed up. She's mine now, right? All right. So at the dance, we've got the offspring, 24 hours ago. I was giving you enough time to finish it for me. Alright, so we see Molly's in her angel costume, right? She's dancing around. Like, Anton said he was going to be here. He was going to meet me. He's not here yet. Alright, and her little devil friend's like, I'm going to go get punch. You want some punch? And, she's off. Anton's in the school trying to find the hand while his buddies, who look great for a costume like party, right? Unfortunately, they're the undead. Try to find Molly, and they end up finding her friend, and her friend's like, oh my god, you look so great, right? And she's like, you want to dance? And so the hand comes to light on the stage, kills some people with some lighting, rips, what's the lead singer of Offspring, Dexter, like scalps him, right? Just full on brains. So we have like a Carrie situation again, like people locked in a gymnasium, like frantically trying to get a way out, right? I don't understand why it's always like the gym. Why can't it be the cafeteria? Just to switch it up a little bit, I mean, sometimes the cafeteria is just as big. Anywho. So Molly and her friend end up, like, getting into the air duct, right? And so they're going through, but the hand follows them, and they can hear it, and they're just, like, trying to go faster. They come to, like, a big opening where there's, like, a big fan, and it drops down into the hallway. So Molly takes her friend's shoe, shoves it into like the fan area to stop the fan, takes her friend's whip and lure across it, down onto the into the hallway. But her friend is scared. She's like, I'm too scared, I can't do it. And then, then we see that the rope's starting to go up, and the hand ties the whip around the friend's neck and drops her down, and she's like, choking, and Molly's like, trying to get her down, trying to help her out. Well, then the shoe comes out of the fan and it starts going, and her friend gets pulled up and pieces, right? Just pieces. But Anton's friends were like Nick and Nub. They were following them, and then they were like, oh, great. And so Nub was, trying to get some from this girl. And Seth's like, we can go back if you want to get a piece. Y'all, Seth Green one-liners in this are fantastic. I mean, they're great. So, right, Molly's like, oh shit. So she runs and she goes into the art room and she gets knocked over the head with something. We don't know what it is, but she gets knocked over the head with something. But Anton's like running through, trying to find her. He gets like attacked by, or no, he hears something in the art room, so he goes in, and then he gets attacked by a puppet. The hand is now in a puppet costume. Oh, Jesus. I mean, I guess what else are you going to do with a hand, right? I mean, I don't know. But the friends meet up with him, and, they're like, we've got to find out, like, where this, like, friggin' thing is. And he did actually run into LaCour, and she, like, was, pissed that he cut off the hand. And she was going to stab him with a dagger, but, the hand's not there, so there's no point in using the dagger. And they got to find everyone, before midnight. And he's like, oh, that's like 3 hours from now. We're good. And she's like, no. It's like 6 minutes to midnight in Druid time. And I actually like that they did that. You know what? I like that they did that. Because a lot of times, right, movies are like, before midnight. Well, what time zone? What time zone? What time are we going off of? Because, I mean, it could be midnight anywhere. Anyways, off my soapbox of that. So they hear screaming, and she's in the auto shop, right? So, like, this is Anton and the friends at this point. Like, they're trying to, save her. She is strapped to a car with, like, a pentagram on the ceiling, and the car is slowly, like, it's on the lifts. So they're trying to, like, fight the hand, which this hand has, like, super, like, strength, so it's really hard. So they're trying to fight the hand. They find this ridiculous bong that the auto shop guys have made out of, like, an exhaust, like a muffler and some exhaust pipes. And Anton's like, are you kidding me? Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, you're not about to just, like, do that right now. But he gets the great idea of, like, taking a big hit, blowing it into the puppet's butt for the hand, and the hand just kind of, like, falls out onto the floor, just boom. So, like, within, like, her nose is touching, like, the ceiling, they're able to, like, stop it. It's ridiculous. But the hand, like, jumps up and attacks, and just in that time, Miss LaCour, sorry I keep saying it like that, but you have to say it like that. If you say it any other way, it sounds like, liqueur, and that's not what it is, because that's just liquor. Anywho, she, like, daggers it, right? Just boom, and the hand, like, the dagger hits the hand, and it goes into, like, Seth Green's chest area, and it just, like, disintegrates. And he's like, what? Like, after all that, there's no, like, hellfire, boo, like, that's it? That's, like, very, such a buzzkill for it just to be like, poof. So, she says something about, ritual sex, and takes old Motley Crue, away. Anton cuts down his lovely girlfriend. They start making out. They go underneath the car. Why? Why would you go underneath a lifted car to start making out with someone? It's ridiculous. Anyways, she gets out right before, like, it just squashes Anton like a bug, right? And then his friends see the light and they're like, ooh. And they go into the light and they're like, Anton, you coming? And then the next scene we see is Anton in like a full body cast being hand fed by his lovely girlfriend. And then he sees his two friends. They're his guardian angels. Which, listen, though I would not want those burnouts as my guardian angels. They would be doing some messed up things in my life. I can't have it. So, you know, the nurse is like, oh, he's hallucinating from the meds. He's tired, whatever. Visiting hours are over. You gotta get out. So Anton's talking to Mick and Penub about them being his guardian angels and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, he's gonna get his life straight. He's not gonna be a burnout anymore, whatever. So they leave the room and the lights get turned out. And in UV paint, it says, I'm under the bed. So he's just like screaming and yelling, you know, and his friends are walking and he's like, hey, should we tell him that we painted that? And he's like, no, let's go walk through some nurses. And that's the end. Listen, was it as good as what I remember it from middle school? Probably not, right? Because I was obsessed with it, let me tell you. Seth Green is my man. Devin Sawa is my man. I love it. Love it. And I told you, the soundtrack was like middle school me all over it. But it's still a good, funny movie. It's still good and funny. Still funny. Anyways, so continuing on with our theme of It Happens on Halloween. Next week, we will be talking about House of a Thousand Corpses and Dr. Satan! Sorry. Again, you guys, middle school me, obsessed with this movie. I guess we're just harking back to like, you know, middle school me being like, this is the coolest thing ever. But, so, be here, House of Thousand Corpses, Dr. Satan, Fish Boy, all of it, right? So, until next week, bye!